I'm proud to say that I received signatures throughout the district. I didn't just go to my hometown and get my friends to sign. I sought signatures. I got over 30 signatures on the island of Nantucket for my campaign, and I'm very proud of that.
That's fantastic.
I think it's important. I think it's important to understand that, the seat is to represent the district. The seat is not to represent your hometown. And that's why I'm spending time physically in Nantucket, because I do not want to be perceived as the vineyard candidate. I don't want to be perceived as the island candidate. I want to be perceived as the candidate seeking to represent the district. And that means half of Falmouth. And a lot of people don't understand the distinction of what part of Falmouth we're talking about. The fact that it borders Buzzards Bay, the fact that it's very concerned about environmental issues, the fact that it's highly educated representing the peninsula of Woods Hole. There's a lot of facets about what's going on in our part of Falmouth that's directly in line with the people of the island community. Plus, they have all the challenges we have as well.
Okay, so let's go through some of those that you would want to right away address. What are some of your top?
You know what the number one challenge? Number one challenge we have is we don't know each other. And what I mean by that is we have a diffuse voice at the state level, because like-minded and like-hearted people throughout our district don't know each other, because we have this fundamental separation by community, far so more than with water.
So true.
So the fact that when you have issues to advance, it's hard to create critical mass because we don't do enough work coming together. Prior representatives, state and rep level, have done a phenomenal job knowing the district, but I don't think we've done a phenomenal job of having those individuals be facilitators of coming together so that we know each other. Because until we know each other and that the average person in the district knows the potential of the district, we're not going to be able to influence a voice at Beacon Hill like we should.
How would you do that? Tim did it, right?
Tim did a phenomenal job of working throughout the district, and people throughout the district know him. My challenge to go a step further than that is, first of all, to be accessible, and to make sure that my priority is to bring people together so that they know each other. So a classic example, we went through quite a bit building a YMCA on the vineyard. It happens to be in the town of Oak Bluffs. What I did in my situation is I facilitated a conversation with individuals in Falmouth who are focused on bringing a Y to Falmouth. I said, if you're going to try to bring a Y to Falmouth and not work with the individuals who spent almost 20 years doing that on the vineyard, you're diluting your power. So the first thing I did was I didn't, try to, direct them for what they need to do or not do for that decision. I brought the vineyard board together with the board from Falmouth and said, okay, you guys have at it, you get to know each other. A state rep needs to do much more of that, of understanding the different components of the district and saying, you guys should know each other, you should work with each other, we'll be stronger because of that relationship. Secondly, we live on a fragile ecosystem. So look, all of our populations are growing dramatically. Where we used to be a large percentage seasonal, more and more people are making our district home on a year-round basis. We have not built out the infrastructure, and we have not done the proper planning to understand the implications of a larger year-round community. Our Board of Selectmen are doing a phenomenal job being reactionary and running the towns.
Right.
But the foresight and the planning beyond is a challenge. And it's something that we will only accomplish through an improved relationship with the state. It means better advocacy at the state level of what our needs are, because the perception of our needs is not consistent with the reality of what our needs are. So I want a much more reactionary, a less of reactionary and more strategically positioning relationship with the state around environmental issues and concerns.
So environment is really important to you.
Well, yeah, because what attracts everyone to this beautiful community is because of our fresh waters and our clean air and our clean harbors. And right now, all of those are under threat. So
what's Martha's Vineyard doing as far as sewering.
We're struggling because we're 6 towns.
Yeah.
Again. So when you look
we just, you know what we just,
yeah,
I mean, we
so
just voted it in.
The whole debate of the sewering, it's a debate.
Money is.
We're looking at non-permeable barriers around our water bodies to try to protect our lagoon. There seems to be new technology every time you pick up the paper that we should consider. And again, great idea, but it has to be more planned out. That's why I ran for the planning board 2 years ago, because I saw enough reactionary management. I didn't see enough positioning for the long term. So, and I'm pretty proud of what we've done in the last couple of years in the town of Oak Bluffs to bring to the attention of the public the importance of long-term planning. And I think people respect it at a whole different level, frankly, since I've been elected to the planning board. We have a phenomenal group of guys who are working diligently, and the relationship with the select board and with the finance committee, which are make up the 3 power boards of a town, I think has improved dramatically.
What do you do for a living?
I grew up in the high technology field professionally. I'm a consultant currently, working with a firm that designs advanced analytical tools, primarily in the consumer product space, but also in the financial services space. I started my career over 30 years ago with Burroughs. A lot of people don't remember who Burroughs was, but I sold mainframe computers out of college, had a strong background in manufacturing operations, and I've been involved in how technology impacts our life professionally and personally for 30 years.
And do you have children?
I have 3.
3?
I have 2 girls. One graduated a year ago. She's just wrapping up a gap year. She's out in college now. She spent a good portion of the year in Guatemala working with disabled citizens. And I have a junior, a girl, Danielle, who was just crowned prom queen, and she'll hate me for saying that. And she's quite the opposite of what you would characterize as a prom queen. She's a very accomplished young lady who's very committed to community and very involved in her home. And I think that she was acknowledged for that. She was acknowledged for the fact that she really cares, she gives back, and she's very accomplished. And then they have a little brother who's 13, we call Trip, because he's the 3rd, and he is a Trip, who brings up the rear.
Very nice. My
wife and I are very fortunate to have the
So are we going to see a lot of you on Nantucket?
I suspect you will.
Yeah.
I've been in the race since last November. So I'm approaching 7 months in the campaign, and I've been doing a lot of work around building awareness of my vision and being accessible. The big branding, the color schemes, the signs and all that. First of all, I hate lawn signs. I think they distract from the beauty of our community. So you won't see lawn signs for a long time, but hopefully you'll see me. And I believe in small, meaningful encounters where people leave feeling as though they were heard, most importantly, and that they got a chance to know me. So you can't often do that in big groups because people are intimidated about the crosstalk. They don't want their questions criticized. They want to know who's hearing what they're articulating to be the needs. So I've learned in this campaign, the way you affect the most change and the way you add value. Again, I'm not suspending success until November, saying there's no success until November. This success right now, you and I talking. But that only comes when people feel comfortable enough to open up.
That's it.
And people open up in small groups. So I'm really striving towards what I call kitchen talks, which is, less than 8 people sitting around a kitchen table, or house parties, less than 30 people sitting in a living room, all feeling comfortable and all willing to share with one another.
How has that experience been for guy who's kind of new to it, right?
It's
here you
wonderful.
are reaching out and going to people and getting them to know who you are.
I've always been out there. I've always been, I was in sales. My father was a theologian. My father-in-law was chair of the King Chair in the School of Theology at Boston University. Being a part of community, be a part of society has always been who I've been.
Right.
So the only thing that's new about this is when you're running for public office, people's opinion of you is a legitimate public criticism. When you're just an average citizen, they can think and talk about you, but they got to do it with a little bit more discretion. Now people have a right to say that Ewell Hopkins and say what they think. And that can be a little discerning every now and then. That can be challenging because everyone has a right to have an opinion because I'm seeking the privilege of representing them. So what you think about me is relevant. And that takes a lot of commitment to your vision, to why you're doing this, because it can wear on you.
Yeah, and when you mean that, I start to think, what if I or anyone who's listening ever thought about running? I mean, you immediately think, okay, it could get negative and nasty, and do I want to put myself through that?
Yeah, I mean, that part is also very true, but the one thing I know is you often find what you look for. And I'm not looking for negativity. I'm looking for beauty. I'm looking for joy. I'm looking for compassion. And I'm going to find that. And I'm going to swim in my own lane.
Right.
I'm going to swim in my own lane.
Got it. I got it. Okay, good for you, man. It was nice to meet you.
You too.